let's discuss the different PTSD phenotypes and delve a little deeper into the neurobiology of trauma so that we can apply this to clinical practice, both from a symptom perspective, but also a treatment perspective. The recognition of different phenotypes in PTSD is important to apply individualized treatment plans. Now, in order to understand the phenotypes, let's first look at the key parts of the brain involved in fear conditioning, the re-experiencing fears, or trauma. The key players here are first, the amygdala, which is the threat center. And this is responsible for the acquisition, storage, the expression of learned fear associations. Next, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. This can be considered as the sort of control center, which inhibits threat expression by down-regulating the amygdala activity. So it is responsible to enhance the fear extinction that can occur when the amygdala is firing. Third, we have the anterior cingulate cortex, which is the emotional center. So the emotional expression, the attention allocation, the mood regulation processes is what the anterior cingulate cortex is responsible for. Fourth, we have the periaqueductal gray, or PAG, and this is the defense center. This particular center learns the action of defensive and aversive behaviors so that we can recognize this when it comes up in the future. And fifth, the hippocampus, which is the memory center. And this is responsible for the storage of memories, the integration of memories during retrieval, and forming contextual fear associations. So associations of certain situations with fear, and this is encoded in the hippocampus. Now let's take the example in PTSD. If there is a decreased ventromedial prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate activation with increased amygdala firing. So the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is not able to blunt the amygdala. In this situation where there's decreased top-down prefrontal inhibition, the patient will actually present with really heightened emotional and autonomic responses. And this phenotype is known as the emotional under-modulation phenotype, where the ventromedial prefrontal cortex cannot control the actual amygdala activation. On the other hand, if there is increased ventromedial prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate activity with decreased amygdala activation, so there is excessive frontal inhibition of the limbic system. Now, the limbic system is also a reward pathway, and when this is blunted excessively, the patient can actually present with emotional detachment, numbing, depersonalization, and derealization, as the amygdala cannot activate a key area, which is the basolateral amygdala, which is critical for reward behaviors via the projection to the nucleus accumbens, which is the reward pathway. So basically, it's the blunting of the reward pathway excessively, and that's known as the emotional over-modulation phenotype. So just to recap, we've got the emotional over-modulation phenotype that I've just covered, where there is excessive blunting of this reward pathway. On the other hand, there is the emotional under-modulation phenotype, whereby the amygdala is firing, and this presents with emotional hyperarousal.